Of course, comfort and luxury at its best is Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe. Located in the center of Entebbe town, just next to the airport, you will find their services located there right in the heart of Entebbe. Now, they have a gym, a sauna, steam bath, swimming pool, and a health club. They also have a fully fledged kitchen with different buffets and menus, as well as continental dishes. They also have sleep-in in case you want to to spend a night with your loved ones or friends and family. It is Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe. You're welcome to Issues at Hand this morning. My name is Karo Noamani. It is very good to have you as an audience, as a viewer this morning. We are going to discuss some of the issues that affect us socially, politically, economically, and I usually forget inspirational and educational, which is our topic today. We are going to look at some of the education, some of the parts in the education sector, some of the parts in the inspirational sector. We're talking family and, of course, very, very close people at home. We are talking about students who are going back home soon enough. They're getting their holidays. How exactly are they supposed to be behaving at home? How exactly are they supposed to relate with the people they find at home, e.g. the parents, the workers, and everybody else? And of course, how are they supposed to prepare themselves to stay in a student mood, to stay in the mood of education until they go back to their schools? But also, how are they supposed to carry themselves when it gets to behavioral and, of course, their behavior in general? So we are here. We have a guest in studio today. Her name is Dr. Hannifah Sengendo, and she's going to be discussing with us and explaining to us exactly how a child or a student should be behaving at home. You're very welcome to the show today.
Thank you, Carol.
It's so good to have you.
Nice seeing you, Carol. Yes.
Okay, you're from Stepping Stone. Tell us about Stepping Stone a bit.
Yes, as usual, I'm not a visitor here.
Your family now.
Yes, I'm part of family because this is family TV anyway. Yes, I'm Dr. Hannifah Naamala Sengendo. I'm a mother. I'm the CEO of Stepping Stone platform that mentors adolescents and young people. But of interest today, we are talking about education. I'm also the director of Chisas College School.
Okay.
But in addition to that, I am a parenting coach. And I'm sure that parents, you know that beginning this week, actually beginning today, many students are going to start breaking off. We are expecting them. So as a mother, I'm expecting my children. But also as an educationist, as a parenting coach, we are here to provide some insights, some inspirational guidance about how we should be ready, our readiness to receive our children. Because, you know, being a parent is God-given, you know. So we should be ready. Hence, I thank Church of Uganda Family TV for actually being upfront to, you know, making us be ready. Because even when you called me for the show, I also had to get ready to receive my own. So I know also our viewers there are getting ready as we are here on this show.
Okay, thank you so much. She is a mother, like you've heard it, and of course, this is the best person to talk about the issues that we want to address this morning. But since you're a school director, let's begin from the nitty-gritties. What does it take to run a school? Is it something easy?
Of course, it's not easy, but it's passion. As I should say, because a school, first of all, you have so many stakeholders. You have the primary ones, those are the students, but also there are so many secondary ones, including the authority like UNEB, ministry, the different ministries, but also the parents. And remember, in our culture, parents and guardians, there is no difference. So the auntie, the uncle of the student will also want to take charge. But in a way, that's the way to go. Because for me as a person who has a niche for transforming lives of young people, it's partly what, you know, makes me going. It's something that gives me happiness. So it's inspirational for me to see a student who passed through my hands, a student whom I mentored because was misbehaving and then is now coming back with, you know, a bunch of banana to say, Dr. Hannifah, thank you. I feel that gratitude and I thank God for that.
That's amazing.
Because then that helps me to see that I'm leaving legacy. Yes.
That's amazing. Now, in 2011, we remember that government had said there's no more beating of school children. Do you agree with that?
I know why I'm laughing. Yesterday I was in some parents' meeting and that's exactly the question that was asked. Yes, we cannot be on such an authentic show at Family TV to talk about legal things. That's the government rule. So what I tell parents and administrators of schools, that we have to be legally compliant. We now have to look for other avenues. How can we punish students? Because beating, there is beating to, they used to beat sort of to discipline, but also there is beating to show authority.
Yes.
And what was really happening basically in schools, even at home I should say, is that some of us parents beat to show authority. And wherever you impart authority without, a very thoughtful process, you get equally the same, like reaction and action are equal. So I advise when we are doing mentorship programs for teachers and administrators, we give them other ways of, of children who have illegals, children who show certain degrees of indiscipline, because at school there is indiscipline that has zero tolerance. For example, fighting and you are hitting your friends, drugs, some of those things are zero tolerance. It's like you are expelled, but we know expulsion at a national level is not really the way to go. But anyway, schools must have rules and regulations. Yes. So there are many other ways how we can discipline our children, even us as parents, leave alone at school. But us as parents, there are ways we can discipline our children. We can discipline our children. For example, for me personally, well, we are already into that program. Personally, I've found withdrawing some incentives or privileges. For example, if I have allowed you to watch TV and we have agreed that you are stopping at 10 and we are there, and then I see you still trying to watch, then I withdraw that privilege. If I've allowed you to go somewhere and we have agreed, come back before it is dark, 6 p.m. And then you are here, coming back at 9 or 10 p.m. I'm worried you are not picking your phone. I withdraw that privilege. And you are where you've switched off your phone or you are not picking my whatever. So withdrawing privileges, For me at school, one of the punishment that pains girls, tell them to remove their shoes and socks and walk barefooted. They will cry. They would say, "Madam, at least beat me up. At least beat me up." So you see, it is not brutal, but it is impacting some, it is showing that you did something wrong. In a way, anything that pains them. For the boys, tell them to remove their shirts and vests and they remain, without a shirt. Oh my God. They will never do that illegal again. So some of those things, we should be embracing them, because we've seen children who are dying because of a slap. Because let me tell you, these days, our children are very brittle because of the way we bring them up. And pretty, we shall be discussing some of these things. That parents overparent. There are children who have not been exposed to any risk. Simple hunger, like if the bell goes at 7:15, rather 1:15 instead of 1, the child collapses because of hunger. Why? At home, the child must eat at exactly 1. Anything less, the child, is collapsing. So, you beat a child, you don't know.
You don't know that
Some
problem.
parents don't declare children's issues. One time I was doing a medical examination. I didn't know a child had undergone a cardiac surgery of the heart. Now, when I did I sometimes say open yourself to check hygiene and all that. The child had had multiple scars. The child had been operated, I think, 3 times. The parent hadn't declared. This child was on medication. The parent hadn't declared. So if you dare just brutally hit such a child, my dear Carol, those are children that collapse. The child can bleed. The child can get a cardiac arrest or some other heart issues. So beating is no longer the order of that day. Let's get other. I know we are tempted, we are tempted.
The teachers are tempted to beat or to show authority. How do you train the teachers to make sure they don't
It is
go beyond.
exactly that is what the administrators were asking. It is a gradual process. Like the way we are trained now to use smartphones other than the cartouche, the kabiriti one. That transition, we have to be transformational. This is an inspirational talk. We have to transform ourselves. We cannot be living as usual. The world is changing.
Yes.
Technology is changing. The food recipes are changing. Fashions of clothes are changing. Why can't we change our parenting or disciplining nuggets? You get what I mean?
Yes.
So things have to change because the world is changing. You know, we now have, I come from the medical field. We now have robots that are doing surgery. We have robots that deliver drugs. You know, I mean, things are changing. My dear parents, with the baby boomers, we have to find ways of dealing with the Gen Zs. The generation Z, the generation I, generation of internet. You know, our children are so brutal, and we have to be prepared for that.
Yeah.
Even us as parents.
Thank you. Okay, so what should a child do in case they are forced to succumb to peer pressure? For example, a child comes from home to school, and a school is a big community. They meet all different kinds of people, and I'm imagining this child has now been exposed to maybe students that have it all, students that have all the grab in the world. They come with phones to school, and for them, they are just from not so.
They are humble. Yes. They are from a humble family.
How should a child handle that kind of peer pressure and not be taken away or taken up by the cares of the society that they've gone to in school?
Well, that's a difficult one because even us as adults, sometimes we succumb to peer pressure. You find someone has been dressing well because they have a party, they have a bash holiday, you know, maybe somewhere, and you see a parent dressed, you know, in a way that is really very, very unfortunate. So I think, first of all, scientifically, when children are growing up, as they get into the adolescence period, there is what we call peer relationship. They tend to believe in their peers, you know, and that is pretty normal. After all, even you, Carol, if you dare meet your peers, the Carol who is here at the show is very humble and whatever. When you meet your peers, there is a way, or your family mates or whatever, there is a way you sort of, you know, you need to fit in. And pretty children, as they grow, they get into the teen age. They want fashion, they want design, they want to feel like others, they want to be appreciated by their peers. So that's pretty natural. You know, that's a natural orientation of these children.
Okay.
But what we as parents, our children are coming back home. One of the things that we should be educating our children is that peer influence is here to stay. Because the different stages have different peer influence, except that as they grow, they may start appreciating which peers should I relate with, you know? So peer pressure and peer influence is for real. As I told you, we own schools and all that. But you see a child who came in very humble because they want to fit in, they want to look alike. You see them piping the trousers. The girls, they shorten the blouses so that, you know, the whatever can be tight. They refuse hair. You see them trying to do hair, or they, you know, they put on makeup. You know, some schools don't allow makeup. It is because they saw someone putting on wanja, putting on the kasige, so they want to follow suit. So, well, it is the role of, it's a 360-degree approach that we as parents, as our children come back, we have to tell them about peer influence. We have to remind them about their roots. You see someone sang that going back to my roots. What is your family values? Do you have values anywhere at home? And have you communicated these values? And many parents, somehow they show their values, but they have not communicated. My dear parents, we are living in the era of communication. We have children, the white children. Have you known that that statement, what we are calling the why generation?
No, you explain.
Yes, you tell a child that today we are not going to eat out. They say, but
Why?
mommy, why? It is because it is raining. So mommy, why is it that when it is raining we can't go out? Then you have to explain that it is cold but mommy, why is it that when it is cold, so the generation of why, it means that we are living in a generation that requires communication. It requires for you to be able to explain. Gone are the days when Hannifah, when my parent would tell me something, I would just succumb. They don't even have to explain.
That's true.
Lero temugenda. Mugenda kulima. Mugenda kusimba oba bijanjalo kuva wano paka wali tobuuza why. But umwana ow'ennaku zino, what do the why generation? It is just me who is naming it like that to help our parents know that we are living in a generation of communication. So parents, we have to talk. Don't you say that you ask me as who? No. They are asking you as their parent. Why shouldn't I succumb to peer pressure? You should be able to explain, and that's why we are here to give that education, because we said this is an education. Sure.
Yes.
They should know their values, because if you do not first of all explain values, what are your values in religion? What are your values in dressing? What are your values as far as meeting other people is concerned? Do you just meet anyone? Do you just go and sleep all over? Children have manya sleepovers. Is it a family value that you just sleep out? Is it a family value that you just go to any birthday or any invitation? Like you also as a parent, wherever you are invited, do you ever go? So for us to help our children, prevent this negative, because there is the positive peer influence and the negative one.
Yes.
I guess you are asking about the negative one.
Yes.
First of all, let's teach our children our family values. Secondly, let's be role models, because you might be telling your child not to succumb to a negative peer influence, but you as a parent, as a mother, you're already showing that you are a victim of negative peer pressure. Hence you are influenced. You have parents, the dressing. I'll give an example. People say, you are there talking, the children are listening. All my friends are dressing that way, so I should also fit in. Meanwhile, omwana akulaba ate awulira. Then you are telling them not to succumb, whereas you have what?
You've done it.
You've done it. So we should be role models of our children, showing that as parents we do not succumb to negative peer influence. Children are coming back home. You as a parent, how are you prepared? Are you going to stay with the same behavior you've had? Some things we do them because our children are not home. Like for example, the way you dress in your sitting room, you have to be ready to change to be a role model, because you are depicting a value system in the home. You have probably to do certain things you've not been doing. For example, you've not probably been cooking. You have to show children that as a mother, you can actually do what?
Cook.
You can cook. You have to show children that you can do house chores. You have to show children that you can control your phone usage. You get what I mean?
Wow, yes.
Yes, because you are a parent, you are on your phone 24/7. You came home, you cannot even greet your children out of your phone. Yes, good morning. Yes, mommy, how are you? Yeah, let me get back. And what value system of phone usage are you role modeling to your what?
To your children.
To your children. We should be ready to change somehow. Gwe mama tofumbangako, obeera ku simu, you on phone 24/7. You are a bad sleeping person. You sleep. You don't pray. Maybe for us, for example, we have prayer rooms in our homes. You never go to the prayer room because maybe you are alone in the house. You pray from your bedroom. This is a time now for you to pray from the prayer room, because you are a role what? You are depicting a value system. Okay? How are you respecting your children? How do you eat even? Are you the type of parent who will eat and because the legs are maybe you are tired the whole day, you are putting the what?
The legs on
top of the table, and then you tell children that you know it's bad to put. So as parents, we should be prepared to receive our children, first of all, as role models, but also depicting and communicating family values.
Okay.
Yes.
So expectations. Let's go to the children now. What should parents expect from children? We've had what children should expect from parents, but what should parents expect from children? Now a child is going to go back home. What next? Where do they start, and how do they carry themselves in the holidays?
Okay, so for me, from the stepping stone and from the intentional parenting perspective, I told you I'm a coach. I'll use the 4P approach.
Okay.
What do children expect from us? The 4 P's of parental guidance. What are our children expecting from us? The first P is presence. You know, they call it presentism. Not just being present, but when you are not present, some parents say, hey, me, I'm at home the whole day, but you are at home. Are you really present in the life of the child, or you are present, busy on your phone, busy in your bedroom, busy on yourself? So being present means that we must create that quality time for our children. We must be present in the life of our children. Our children are really stressed, if I may use the easy way of talking about being stressed. You know, they have been in exams. They have been eating other stuff of food. They have been having another environment. Now they are coming home. They expect quality time. I did not say that we are going to leave our work and be home 24/7, but I'm talking about that intentional presence. Meaning that I am home intentionally. First of all, when they come, I should welcome my children. That will go into the other P. But how are you intentionally present? Physically, also mentally. Some parents are, the children, by the time they come back, you are showing you are too stressed. You are too occupied with work, with home problems. The moment the child enters, you are back. Problems here. You start off on a note that actually further stresses the child. So let's be present. Let's be role models. Let's give that time. Let's be present by our bodies and language. Do you know there are parents who do not have a present language? They have a language of long ago, vast baby boomers. The language that does not bring hope to a child. I know children will come back with reports. Children will come back with circulars. Some of our children have been indisciplined. This is the opportunity. Seize the moment as a parent. The first P is presence. And not just presentism. That I'm there, but I'm not what? Do you know when I talk to you and you are present, I can know?
Yes.
Yes. Let's be present for real. That, you know, that coward that they use this.
Gen Z uses.
The Gen Z use. Let's be present for real. Not present just virtually. The body is not present. The mind and the children can read us. Let's create some quality time to be with our children. The other P is praise. Let's praise our children. A child to complete a term when has not been sent away for indiscipline, let's praise them. My dear parents, we are living in an era of technology. We are living in an era of complexity. We are living in the era of exposure. And we have seen children who have been sent. One term a child has gone to 3 schools, meaning that every month a child has a different what? Has a different school. Now that your daughter, your son has come back and has shown that resilience of following school rules and regulations, follow that second P of praise. Let's praise our children. Let's welcome them, even if I know some of them will come back. Things are lost property. You know, we lose a lot of property these days. You know, children, there is a lot of theft. But has your child been caught for theft? Has your child been caught with an illegal? We are living in the era of drugs. Oh my God. Ooh, and it is for both boys and girls. I have been perturbed as I kept moving through different schools. And girls, innocent girls, senior one, because of the negative peer influence, they are taking these things. Oris, you know those things, the vapes.
You know them.
I know them because I'm a mentor. I interact with teenagers. I should know them.
Yes.
Yes. I know them. The cookies are there. The things are all there. Praise your child for having succumbed. But guess what? Sometimes the home is the problem.
Oh.
We have had students whom you ask, when did you ever learn these things? I learned we had in some schools, because I moved in several schools. You know, I stole from my dad. What? I stole this from my dad, calling the dad. The dad takes, he says, yeah, I take drugs, but I'm sorry, I didn't know my daughter steals. Sometimes it is the home that is the what?
The problem.
The problem, the home is the risk. So, much as we don't condone, the issues of drugs and whatever, parents, children have started alcohol, beer, because there is a corner, a fridge, where parents keep their OH, their alcohol. You are where the children test, they open and they seal. And you are the ones who send the children, Gandhi, bring me that, I don't know the names of those, Gandhi, bring me that, whatever. They test, and you know what? These days we have, I don't remember the name of is it, what, anyway, not to demarket, their alcohol is in small Cavera packs. They are sold at 500, Manya 1,000. So the children test and they learn from home. So let's praise our children and protect them. The other P is protection.
Okay. So
that protection of some of those risks, a parent who is taking drugs, and the child is learning drugs from you. You ask children, I learned from home. My uncle came and he was sending me to buy the cigarette for him. And one obuto, go and buy for me over Rex. Why is it still there anyway? Go and buy for me. Oh, you've brought one. Go and bring to the money, brings 2 sticks. The child is learning. Someone takes part of the cigarette and then gives the child to go and destroy. You think as the child is running, what will they do? Tell me.
Of course, they'll have to test.
They will test, because during this age, as children grow, they are explorative. They explore. They want to know. They want to test. They are risk takers. What is happening, They are risk takers, and you are creating a conducive environment for them to get that negative risk.
Okay.
So let's be protective as parents. Physically protective, let's not hurt our children. Our children have left home and they don't have bruises. The moment they come back, we slap them, we hit them, they hit and hit other things, and then they get wounds, and then they get traumatized mentally. Because as I kept saying, in the world that is so volatile now, our children are brittle. They are brittle and brutal. Omwana omukuba oluyina akudiza. So let's also be careful. Let's not call for danger, although we must remain with authority.
Yeah.
Let's be protective, but we are parents. Let's guide and have that authority.
So
but without being brutal.
How do we get the authority? How do we
regain?
How do we show authority without being brutal?
Yes,
as parents.
Yes, that's why what I said, that let's maintain our physical presence, the quality time, because then the child will understand you. Let's communicate. For example, some of the conflicts, of course, let's also expect normal conflict. There is normal conflict and abnormal.
Because I'm looking at a situation where a parent receives a bad report from school. The report has the marks that are there are not what the parent is expecting. So that in most cases, the parent gets angry, naturally, of course.
Yes, that's natural. That's real. I wouldn't say I
should they handle that situation?
Well, first of all, for me, what I keep telling my dear parents is that wherever you have a problem, focus on the solution. It is very bad for this child to perform badly, and no one should laugh over it that thank you, you have performed. No. But let's focus on the solution. Yes, use that moment to show your dissatisfaction, but let's quickly focus on solutions. Why? You must also, first of all, audit yourself. Begin with yourself. As a parent, do I have a percentage of contribution? Because there are parents who never pick interest in children's academics. How? They just go on VD, they stop at bringing grab and everything. They never talk to a single teacher. In the parents' meeting, they are too busy. They have the TB disease. Too busy. TB. You know? They have the TB disease. They are too what?
Too busy.
They are too busy. Secondly, when they come, some of them hide. Me, I came at 12 because I wanted Yobi meeting to first end. They are telling the child.
Hey.
I wanted the meeting to first end. And then I what? I come. Can't go pick your grabber. They never sit with their children to show interest or even to audit and understand. How can I help? Should I bring some past papers? Should I buy a better pen? Should I bring you more extra books for you to,
Textbooks.
Because this child might have failed because probably didn't have a geometry set and failed math. And you as a parent, don't say the child didn't tell me. You as a parent also, did you find out? Chichi echikule says that is an opportune time. Ngomazo kunyigam. You have of course shown you are dissatisfied. Tell the child, what do you think has made you perform like this? Because I've told you we are living in the era of C, communication. And we are living in the era of Y, fitting. Why do you think you have not performed well? I don't understand things. Also, you the parent, ask, why aren't you understanding? That I don't have a calculator. They ask for certain calculators. The child might say that I don't have a scientific calculator, so I just got it during exam. I borrowed it from so and so. I lost it. Those usual excuses.
Yeah.
I lost it. The button went off. Those things. So as a parent, have you picked interest in your child's academic performance? Interest not just at the time of post-mortem, when the report is there before you. Before that, some parents don't even have numbers of maybe doses, the directors of studies. Some parents don't have those numbers. They have the number for the matron for what? To send money. You get? Send money for pocket money. For pocket money. But you don't have the number for that dose. Your child has never heard you say that when I called the dose, he told me that you slept and did not go for the paper in time. Or you don't have notes. The child will see that actually you have interest. So as a parent, have you done your self-awareness or your self-audit? Probably you are a contributor. But also, that does not give an open ticket for children to perform badly. Children, of course, the peer pressure, children thinking that they are reading for you. Parents, this is now when you have your first P of presence, you tell them they are not reading for you. They are reading for themselves. When do you communicate? During the first P presence. And the second P praise. Have you ever praised this child? Or when the child brings the report. One time, I was interfacing with a family. They had conflicted. Why? The child had scored very well in 7 of the subjects. The 8th subject is what had the past 7. The parent was up in arms. And she hadn't said, thank you for 7.
I know.
This one, P. Oh my God. They had conflicted, they had fought. The parent was not understanding the child. What was the child saying? At least mama, never zako kubino byenna. You have an F. I'm suffering. Yes, we are suffering, but sometimes we don't need to communicate our suffering that way. Communicate it during your P time, during the presence time, during the time of protection. How? Tell them how how you are doing financially. Teach them how to make the budget. How do children anyway know that we are constrained financially? Some parents, you never want even to risk your children. You want the list of 57 items. You buy 56 and you apologize. Munanga, I'm very sorry. You know what? I bought 56, that one item. Oh, I just forgot. Can I have the money? Kumbe inside you didn't have the what?
The money.
The money. Let's sometimes it's us parents who contribute to our children's failure. So presence, praise, and protection.
Okay.
Protection comes in very many ways. Let's protect our children from unnecessary exposure, from unnecessary outings. Kati bagenda kudda waka. When they come home, you want this child to move to every relative. The relative also doesn't have time. You are saying you are busy. Mugendeke wasenga gundi because amwawe. After that, mugendeke wakoja gundi. Mugendeke wajeje. Go here, go here, go here. You know, you are not protect. Which value will the child pick? You tell me. Each home has their own, you know, family values. Yes, there are values that can be integrated, that they can cut across. But you as a parent, you are not protecting your child from negative pressure or negative exposure. Parents are buying phones that are for, you know, we got, you know, some schools have rules that when they get an illegal like a phone, they crash it. Yeah. Now, in one school, they got a phone from a student. Immediately, I think the parent had an IP address for that. Immediately, the school got the phone. The parent called. Hello, head teacher, you know what? I know you've got so with that. You know, he's been doing some work for me. We said, you know, mbega chichi. We said, what? But do you know the illegal? Yes, it is illegal, but he was doing some work for me. Then he told it. Looking at the call logs, the child was calling the parent. The parent knows the child is not supposed to have the what? The phone at school. Phone. So they are conniving in a way, yet you are blaming the child for performing badly. Do you think this student who is having a phone like this in class, like this when the teacher is there and is this, you know, chatting, do you think this child will ever perform well? No. But you are the parent who has accepted, who don't even ask, how come you are calling me during class time? How come? Whose number are you using? Manya, for the canteen, you as a parent, you are not picking interest. Why are you calling from the canteen number, not the school? Not the school number that was provided. So you were a contributor to the child's failure. Okay, so you've got that piece. We have 1 P remaining. Okay, let's take a very short break. We are still discussing preparedness of our parents to receive the children that are coming home this week. And of course, we are looking at expectations of parents, expectations of children, behavior, communication. We are coming to negligence. And of course, we have been told that the 4 Ps are important. We've been given 3 of them, and that is presence. Are you present in your child's life? Praise. Do you praise them when something good is done, when they've performed well? Do you praise them? And then protection. Do you protect your child at all costs to make sure that they are grounded in the values that you are teaching them as a parent? And then also communication is a very, very important aspect when it comes to the relationship between parents and parents, teachers, and students themselves. We are going to take a short break. We are powered by Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe. We'll be back. Stay with us. Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe is our sponsor for the day. We are still discussing issues at hand, and today we have an educationist, an inspirational lady, and as well as a family coach, and she is giving us tips on how to handle the situations back at home with family, especially when students come back home from school like they are going to do this week. How exactly are they supposed to relate with their parents? How are parents supposed to relate with their children? What are they supposed to do? What is each one's contribution so that the equation can be solved? And of course, we have looked at some of the things like challenges that face children when they go home with bad reports, and of course the solutions that how can a parent handle that situation.
And we've also looked at the three P's so far: the presence of yourself in your child's life, the praise that you give them when they do something good, and the protection you give them at all costs, because these are your children. You must protect them. And we are going to the fourth P. I'm going to ask Dr. Naamala to carry on with the fourth P.
Okay, so the other P is provision, but let me just go a little about protection.
Okay.
It should be controlled protection. Some parents are overparenting. They don't allow any child to get any simple risk. It is like the child is not exposed. You know, if you are not exposed, I'll give medically. We know that we are here with our malaria. The mosquitoes bite you and somehow you don't succumb. You have some degree of immunity. But some parents are too protective that children don't get an immunity. Some parents do not allow their children, for example, to ever move in a public means. That probably they will get dirty. You know, some parents overprotect that children never do any hard work. We grew up digging. They can still dig. They can do some gardening if you don't have anywhere to do a lot of digging. They can do the cobwebbing. They can do some hard stuff. Let's protect our children, but let's somehow get them out of a comfort zone. Because then the world is not comfortable always. It is not so comfortable. Even when sometimes it's very comfortable, it gets uncomfortable. Because like you are seated on a chair, initially it is soft, but as you are there, it gets hard. So let's not also overprotect our children. The children, you know, their children who have never seen a fridge being empty, you know. They are children who, I don't mean of the basic needs. They are children who have never been at a circumstance when they can use a small soap to wash. They know that always they should be washing with a big soap. A big piece of. These are simple things, but they happen in our homes. We have seen children one time. Children were hungry in a certain, I do a lot of counseling. The children hadn't taken tea. Why? The gas had gotten finished, but there was charcoal in the kitchen. The children had known that tea is only cooked in the what?
On the gas cooker.
On the gas cooker. That it cannot be cooked in the charcoal stove. Sigiri. You know, that is overprotection. There are children who can't know that actually the DSTV can be over. You know that it gets expired. The moment it gets expired, the parent is on her knees. She's apologizing so much. She's on wonke, you know. I know it is okay for it probably to continue being on, but don't overprotect that as though it is a taboo. So let's, as we do protection, let's learn the difference between needs and wants. Needs in a home and in our life are things that we must have. We must have some good food. But wants are those things. They are things you can do without. If they give you a list of 57, you can first choose the needs. They must have, you know. And then those other ones, the one that they can do without, you can as well postpone when money is there in abundance. So protection has a disclaimer that we should have controlled protection.
Okay.
You know? The other P, the last P, is provision. For sure we should provide for our children. And let's not, I don't know what they call kulangira in English. You provide, but then you
follow it with a lot of words.
With a lot of words and bragging. You know how much it takes for me to produce this many. Yes, to a certain extent, children should know, but not in a way of, negative words about your provision. Because by the way, it is your role as a parent to provide.
Yes.
However, your provision should also be controlled. There is a lot of wastage and abundance in homes. Children, they put on gas. The tea gets cooked, they turn it off. They watch TV. Then they come back and what?
Put it on
again. Then they go to play. They come back and put on the same what?
The same TV.
Wastage. We have to teach our children that never in the world do we live in abundance. Never. Not even time is abundant. You see, this show is just 1 hour.
True.
Probably want to talk over and over, but we are not living in abundance of time. But particularly some parents provide, which is okay, that's our role. First of all, let's not follow it with negative words, you know, but also let's teach our children to budget. Children should know that when we buy a pint of milk, that milk we should be able to take morning and evening. Of course, when they have just come back, they have that vigor. Hey, we take milk, we take bread and whatever. Give it a grace period. You know, yeah, like how they are gonna sleep a bit because they have been at school. But let's teach our children that we are not living in the world of abundance. Let's provide as usual, but abundance and wastage. You know, because some parents even start complaining. How come the bread is finished? Yes, if you've not taught them, but Bananga, you know this bread, we are 4 people. Each of us, let's take a maximum of 3 loaves. Because some children will take, I had my son. If I hadn't been observant, every time I would wonder, but how does? They said that, you know, so and so he's taking 6 loaves. And I'm like, how does he take 6 loaves? So one time I got interested. You know what? They were taking the loaves, but then they remove all the brownie part of the bread. So he only wants this.
The white one.
The white one or the yellow one. The middle one that is soft. Meanwhile, the other one, he discards it. He throws it away. Oh my God. I said, we are not living in a life of what? Wastage. I appreciate you must eat, but this is real wastage. And I ate, I said, let me eat them and I see how I die. So we have to provide, but our children should know that things are not always on the silver plate.
Okay.
You know? Exactly.
Thank you so much.
So you've gotten the 4 P's?
The 4 P's now, we have praise, we have presence, protection, and provision, which is very important for every parent to learn out there and carry on and carry them out at your home like you have learned them. If you have just joined us, we are here discussing preparedness of parents to receive children from school. And of course, we have looked at a number of things, including behavior of children, negligence, what are the challenges that come with negligence if you neglect your child, and what are the solutions, what are the parents supposed to do to avoid negligence. We've talked about communication, expectations of parents from children, and vice versa. And now we get to the last part, which is how can we avoid severe conflicts. Of course, Doctor, we can't avoid conflicts at home. They are there. People who live together always have some challenges and severe conflicts at that. But how can we avoid them in relation to parents and children?
Yeah, first of all, we should appreciate that there is no more conflict. Conflict is healthy. It also helps you to be outside your comfort zone. But the only problem, if there is severe conflict that, first of all, that is prolonged, that has violence, you know, conflict and violence can be physical or words. We've been talking about some words that can actually cause violence.
Yeah.
It can be physical, the actual beating and, you know, causing harm. You know, there is, I don't want to go to that, but causing harm to a child is really, really not called for, especially intentional harm. Yes, conflicts. First of all, my dear parents, let me warn you that expect conflict. You know this age scientifically, because they are argumentative. I know you've seen them. As they keep growing, they get to argue. As they ask their whys and you are giving your answers, they argue because their brains are actually living at a point when they want to know so much, when they want to understand beyond understanding, when they have those whys that go beyond 5 times. You know, it is so hard to explain 5 whys. By the 3rd one, if you are not so strong, you'll already be, you know, frowning and, you know, getting into a conflict or into a conflict mode. So let's expect some degree of conflict. However, being argumentative is not really conflict. It is okay to argue. By the way, I like children who argue. Why? When children are arguing, they are sort of showing that they know.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whether what they are arguing is very correct or wrong, but the art of arguing is good. Now, where your art comes in as a parent for you to avoid even the conflict is for you to remain in control, to remain as an authority. If you are in an argument with a child and the child starts doing this, you are getting out of what?
Out of control.
If the child starts using words, mommy, you don't understand, just say that probably, mommy, you don't know. But if you start telling me that, mommy, you almost see those words, then it is getting into a conflict mode. You know, we have different modes. So you as a parent, you should remain as an authority to know when the child is getting into a conflict mode. But for me as a mother, what I've found useful is that, first of all, to learn to listen. I was one of the parents who had poor listening. I am training myself. I may not be 100%, but I have now tried. You know, baby boomers. Before the child finishes, you already hitting with another 100 words.
That's how my mother is as well.
Yes, but I guess for the bazukuru, she's a bit different. Why? That's why people say that our mothers do bazukuru change.
Of course.
Because they have learned and they are sort not giving up, but they are sort of flexing. They are relaxing a bit. So you should be able to know when you are entering into a conflict mode, you know. And you should actually have that self-awareness potential.
Yes.
You know, sometimes because we are so stressed with work, we can no longer control our environment. You go back home, but you are the cause of conflict. Because something happened at the workplace. They didn't pay you. Boss, was on you. You didn't, things didn't work out. The interview didn't go well. The report has not gotten finished. The makeup didn't come to its expected. Everything on you is negative, and then you come and pour all that onto the child. The children can read you. Do you know that?
Yeah, they do.
They do read you.
They do read
so
you.
I think in order to avoid conflicts, self-awareness. We are now teaching about people parental self-awareness. You as a parent, when do you sort of die a little? Sometimes you need to die a little. Something you need to ignore sometimes. You see something and you sort of ignore for your peace.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much. It's been a very beautiful discussion, but because of time, we'll have to wrap it up right here. But we've learned a lot. Like I said, we looked at expectations of parents from children and vice versa. We looked at behavior of children, communication, negligence, and the 4 Ps, which will help you guide your child and, of course, make a better parent of you. Presence, praise, protection, and provision. We ended with communication and severe conflict. That is it from Issues at Hand. And we shall be here next week to do the same thing, to carry on discussions on how exactly we are supposed to uphold ourselves as the human race. My name is Karen Wamani. Thank you so much for being a part of Good Morning Family, a part of Issues at Hand. We'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.